Blackstar have just released the AMPED 3, which is the third in their series of desktop or pedalboard-based amp solutions. These are a killer unit across all three, and we want to talk about which is the right amp for you. But before we do, let's check out what the AMPED 3 has to offer and how it differs from AMPED 2 and AMPED 1. The main point of difference with the AMPED 3 is the fact that it is more set up like a multi-channel amp. So the AMPED 1 was more like a one-channel amp. The AMPED 2 was more like a amp plus effects. This is more like a full-featured 3-channel and potentially more amp that you might sit on your desk or sit on your pedal board or run entirely as your entire rig. It features reverb and it features the same power situation that the other AMPED does, which is 1 watt, 20 watt or 100 watt settings. It also has EL84, EL34 and 6L6 simulation in the tube response or the power amp response of the amp. The thing that makes this unit very usable as certainly a studio tool is the array of different guitar sounds that you can get out of it. So what I've done is I've set up 3 basic sounds here to go with the 3 basic channels. I've got a clean channel that has a warm and a bright setting. I also have a crunch channel that has crunch and super crunch settings. And then I have a drive channel that has overdrive 1 and overdrive 2. I've set up 3 sounds that I like, and we're going to hear it with both humbuckers and via this coil tap single coil sounds as well. Let's have a listen. First of all, the clean sound. I've set it to the warm setting. I've got some reverb on, and I have got a boost that I have set up after the preamp, which means that it doesn't boost the gain at all, but it makes your volume louder. So here's the clean with the humbucker. And if we want a bit of a solo boost, I've got the same sound, just a little bit louder. Now we can switch that so that you could run that into the front end of the amp and give the amp a little bit more of gain sound if that's what you wanted, which is what I'm going to do in the crunch and the overdrive channels. So as I go to the crunch, I've set it up in kind of an EL84 sort of Vox territory, and I'm going to go to a single coil sort of sound and get a little bit chimey. Let's have a listen. And the boost here I've set up before, so it's going to actually add a little bit of drive to my signal. So it sounds like this. Not boosted. So all of that wonderful voxy kind of chime. Now if we go to some humbucker sounds with this crunch, I'm going to leave the boost on. Sounds like this. Which is a really great kind of mid-gain kind of rock tone. And finally, I'm going to get over to the drive setting. Now, I'm going to turn the reverb off for this, but we have got the EL34s, and I have got my ISF control here that I have saved to kind of a really scooped metal sort of tone. And my boost also comes before, so it adds a bit of gain. Let's have a listen. So, humbuckers. And if I go to single coils, I can get with my volume control, a much cleaner sort of mid-gain sound. And just like an amp would usually do, as I roll my volume up, I get more gain. And finally, let's have a listen to the boost. So I've gone back to the humbuckers. I'm going to boost the front end of this so I get a little bit more gain and a little bit more saturation out of my tone. So a pretty killer lead or just general rock tone there. Can't go wrong with that. So that begs the question, of course, which amp is right for you? Well, as you'll see in forums and all of that sort of stuff, the phrase, your mileage may vary. So it is totally up to you which one will suit you best. But here's my take on it. The Amped 1 was more of a single channel type pedal platform amp. So if I was using the Amped 1, it would be if I was a pedal player and I got all of my tones, all of my overdrives from pedals, and I wanted a very simple single channel amp that would be able to basically be the platform for those pedals to be the entirety of my tone. The Amped 2 was more like a single channel amp with some boosts and effects. So if you wanted a all-in-one solution, you wanted one unit that you could take that would be your amp and your pedals and be able to plug into a cab and be able to run direct to the front of house for a live situation, I would choose the Amped 2 because you get a couple of effects in there, you get some delays, you get some chorus, you get some drives and some boosts. And then the Amped 3 I would use if I was in a studio setting and I really needed access to a whole range of different guitar tones. But I knew I might be adding effects later on, or I might be adding some delays or some reverbs in the box or via the effects loop in the Amped 3. For me, this is the perfect studio solution. Now, as I said, you will probably find different uses for these pedals, and we'd love to know in the comments if you're a user already or how you think you might use the Amped 3. Let us know below. But for my take, the Amped 1 is a pedal platform, the Amped 2 is the all-in-one live solution, and the Amped 3 is the perfect studio tool. One of the things that makes the Amped series the perfect studio tool is the USB out and also XLR out. But the USB is really useful because you get access to the Architect software. Now, we're using the Architect software for what you're hearing in your video right now. We have set it up to be a 4x12 with a ribbon mic on it, so it pretty much sounds like what I'm running through in the room here. But the Architect software allows you to choose a whole range of different cabs and a whole lot of different microphones to get the perfect tone. Couple that with the range of tones that you get out of the Amped 3, and like I say, it's just the ultimate studio tool. So just like the other amped pedals in this series, the Amped 3 features the same extensive in and outs. And we can see on the back here, we've got obviously our in, a straight out if you're running into your pedal board, and you've got an effects loop as well. You also have the USB out, and these 1, 2, 3 settings here allow you to pre-save cab sims so that you can access them on the fly without having to use the Architect software. You've also got headphones out, you've got an XLR out, you've got an 8 ohm and a 16 ohm speaker out, and you've got MIDI in and out. This allows you to save presets. Now, you can save presets on the front of the unit, but MIDI allows for a whole lot more presets to be saved. Finally, one awesome feature that all of these pedals have is this 9-volt output. So if you're running a delay through your effects loop, then you don't have to have another wall wart powering that delay. You can just use these 9-volt outputs and sit it right on the desk or on the pedal board next to you. A really awesome feature. So there you have it. That's my take on the awesome new Blackstar Amped series. Check out our other videos, the reviews of the Amped 1 and the Amped 2, and let us know what you think. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Noisegate.